trades her soul for immortality and a life of freedom. She can. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I'm reading off of this website. She can. I think they meant she can live forever. Will. She can and / will live forever, but no one can remember her. It's a bargain she strikes with the devil out of desperation and a desire for more. 300 years later, Addie has learned to survive, but is still living a mostly invisible existence. Then she walks into a small New York City bookstore and meets a man who can't remember her name and face. Whoa. Crazy. So that's a very brief little synopsis about what the book is about. So that's kind of what you would read before, getting into a book to decide, do I want to read this or not? But I'm going to get into some more detail about it now. So I'm about halfway through, and it's just so good so far. So I like to, when I'm reading something like this book, this was one book that I saw, on Instagram all the time, book talk. I got it and just knew that it was a really liked book. And I do this a lot with books where I don't know anything about it before I jump into it. I love going into books with a completely clear mind, literally no idea what the plot is about. I don't even know what genre it is. So as you heard a bit in the synopsis, she makes a deal with the devil for a life of freedom. And the reason she does this is because so the year is 1714 when she ends up making this deal. I believe she's 21 years old, so she was born in the late 1600s. And she grows up in a small town called Villon in France. Just a little town, quite far away from Paris. Back in those days, there were just like little hamlets all throughout. Each town kind of cares for themselves. You know everyone in your little hamlet. You don't stray too far away from it. You're kind of born and expected to marry someone within like a mile of your house. You're expected to then marry, raise a family, take care of your children while your husband works and brings food for your family. So growing up, this never interested Addie. She had no intention of ever settling down, kids, marrying, all of that to her just sounded like the worst existence she could ever imagine. All she wanted was to explore, draw. She was an amazing artist. Her father taught her. Her father was a woodworker. What is that called? Someone who makes things from wood. God. What is that? It's like all the tip of my tongue. Shoot. Oh, I just noticed a dead fly on my desk. That is gross. Anyways, I'm a carpenter. Yes. He was a carpenter, and he would also whittle little things out of wood, which were just beautiful and amazing. And once a year, her father would go into the nearest town, take their carriage and horse, and ride. I think it would take all night to ride into the nearest kind of town. It wasn't even a big town. So he could sell a bunch of his wares to the bigger town to make some money for the family, of course. And Addie was about probably around 7 years old when she started going with her father on these trips is where her mother no longer allows her to go on this trip with her father because that's not ladylike. She shouldn't be doing that, you know. She's now coming up the age where she should be meeting her husband and settling down. And she's still quite young, like a young teenager at this point. But every man that approaches her wants to court her or really just marry her. She turns down. She's not interested in the least. So she kind of gets this reputation as, I don't know the right word, but just a reputation for, not being a typical woman. Like, why aren't you marrying? Why aren't you doing what a woman is supposed to do at this time? It was like the early 1700s. So, yeah, she just refuses to marry. There's this old woman who lives in their town. Her name is, what is her name? I believe her name is Celeste. Do not quote me on that. There's a full-on book review summary that I'm just scrolling through. Now, I don't remember her name. Anyways, she's an older woman who lives in their town as well. And Addie loves her. She is a free woman. I don't believe she ever married. She's always been, a free spirit, very hippie-esque, and no one else in the town really communicates with her too much. They all think of her kind of more of an outsider, but Addie loves her. We're gonna call her Celeste, even if that's not her name. She loves Addie. They're always kind of hanging out together, and Celeste tells Addie about these gods. They talk about praying to these gods, and Addie talks about wanting to be free forever. Just having a life to do what she wants in dreams of getting out of the lawn and going to Paris. She wants to go to Paris. She heard all of these stories from her father about just how amazing Paris is. Everything there is richer, more extravagant, more beautiful. There's just so much life happening in Paris. So that's where she wants to go. At first, anyways. Yeah, so her and Celeste talk a lot about praying to these gods. But Celeste warns her that you can pray, you can wish for this, but just make sure that you never pray to the gods when the sun goes down, because once the sun goes down and it's dark, those are not the gods you want to be answering your prayers. So Addie keeps that in mind, and one day I believe it's 21, Addie's 21, and there is a man with, I believe, 3 kids, a few kids. His wife has passed away, and he needs a wife his family's not complete. He needs a wife to look after his children and to complete his family. So her parents basically set up this marriage for her. Addie really has no choice but to marry this man. So it's the night before their wedding, and Addie just has nightmares about being with this man. Looks 5 years into the future, not literally, but in her nightmare, it's 5 years into the future. She looks like she's aged 20 years, just so exhausted, looking after these children that aren't hers, and the new baby on her hip that is hers, and it's just miserable. That is not the life she sees for herself. That is not the life she envisioned for herself ever. She cannot let that happen. She cannot and will not let that happen. Sorry, my lips are feeling real dry. I'm going to take a quick lips have been so dry recently. I realize it's also February and I live in Canada. But my lips won't stay moist. It's very annoying. So, where were we? So, yeah, the night before our wedding, just all these nightmares about what her life would be like if she marries this man. So the morning comes, she's dressed in her wedding gown, ready to go down to the church. Her parents, they're, I think, standing outside of the house, and her parents are all ready to walk over with her to the church to, get it all done. They're like, finally, our daughter, this is their only child as well. Finally, our daughter will become, a proper part of society. She's doing what she's meant to. She's going to be completing this family, helping him out, and finally be married off to a new family and all of that. So they're getting ready to walk her over, and Addie says, oh, sorry, I need to run into the house for a moment. Just 1 second. So she starts to back away, and her father gives her this look. Her mother's like, okay, be quick. And father says, your father looks suspicious, and he's like, maybe I'll come with you. But Celeste is there too, and Celeste is also looking suspicious, but she says, oh no, I forget her father's name. No, she'll be fine, just leave her. She's an adult now. She's literally about to be married off. I think she could go into the house by herself for a moment, So he's like, okay, but really quick, get right back here. I expect to see you in like 2 seconds. So Addie walks off back into the house, and the second she's in there, she books it out the back door. And out the back door is just a big, huge field that goes to, then there's a tree line on the other end of the field, and then just nothingness past that. Like, they're kind of on the edge of their little town. So she runs out the back door, starts booking it across this field. She wants to get to that tree line where the forest is, so she can be more hidden. And her plan is to just escape, run away from this life that she wants nothing to do with. So she is running, and then she hears her father. She knows her father's come into the house to look for her, and hears him yelling for her. But she keeps running. She doesn't listen to any of the noises of the people that she hears calling her name. She just keeps going. But when she makes it to the tree line, makes it inside the forest, and just collapses. Basically collapses. I realize I'm really telling a lot of the story now. I'm like only a few chapters into the book. 1, I don't know how I've remembered all of this, and 2, I didn't want to go that in depth. So I'll speed up the process a little bit. We're already just about 20 minutes into the video, but let me know if you prefer shorter or longer ASMR videos. I know if you want to go to sleep, it might be better for longer, so you don't need to worry about a video ending before you're able to go sleep. Okay, so basically Addie falls down onto the muddy grass and falls asleep. Maybe she's knocked out. I think she just falls asleep. But she wakes up to... No, she doesn't wake up. She's like on the ground, and she just starts praying. She's like, Gods, please answer me. And back the last little while leading up to this wedding, she has been praying all day, every day, giving gifts to these gods, leaving gifts for them in the ground, praying that a god will answer her and take this horrible life away from her and give her freedom. So she's praying, her head's in the ground, clutching onto the soil, just giving every last bit of what she has inside to these prayers. And she's been praying for so long that she doesn't realize that the sun has gone down, and she has ghostly shadow takes the form of a man, a very handsome man that she has actually been drawing and perfecting for years now and created her perfect ideal man. And that is the form that this shadow decides to take. Now, this shadow tells Addie that he can give her freedom. Well, he asks her what exactly she wants. Like, what does that mean for you? Tell me exactly what you want. And she says she doesn't know. Then she says basically what she doesn't want. And he says, I can't do anything with that. I need to know what you do want. Now, I can't remember exactly what she says, but she wants to be free. She wants to be able to make her own choices, not have to, listen to anyone, be under anyone's ruling, anyone's reign, anything like that. So he says, okay, I can do that, but I basically, in exchange for this freedom, I want your life. So they come to a deal where once she is done with her life, she no longer wants to live anymore, basically. She comes to a point in time where she says, okay, I've lived a good life. I've used all the freedom that I can. I'm happy with it. Devil, shadow, creepy man, you can now have my life. And at that point, you'll take her life and she will die. That sounds, on the surface, that sounds pretty good. So, she says, okay, the deal is made. And then I think she just kind of drops, falls asleep, or something like that. Then when she wakes up the next day, she's not feeling too hot. She's still in her wedding gown. All tattered, muddy, dirty. She's not looking too hot. She's hungry, she's thirsty. And she thinks about the conversation she had the previous night with that man. So she makes her way back to town, back to her house in Milan. She wasn't very far away from it. And it's quite quiet. Just seems like a normal day. Nothing's really happening. And she goes to her house, her parents' house. But the problem is, she walks right inside, says, Mom, like, what's going on? Why? Like, I'm back, I'm here. And her mother looks at her like she's crazy. She's like, who are you? Why are you in my house? Like, get out. And she's like, Addie's like, excuse me, I'm your daughter. What do you mean? She's like, I have no daughter. What are you talking about? Get out of my house, you crazy lady. So Addie's like starting to freak out, And then her father comes home and is standing in the doorway and says the same thing. Who the hell are you? What do you want? Get out of my house. They end up kicking her out. So now she's standing outside the house in a panic. Why don't my parents remember me? Why aren't my parents my parents? So she then goes to see Celeste, and the same sort of thing happens. Except Celeste is a little bit more skeptical. Because Addie says some things about Celeste that, she wouldn't know unless she knew her. So Celeste is like, okay, what kind of witch are you? Because she believes in that sort of thing. She's like, who? What are you? Like a god? Or are you a witch? Like, what the heck are you? She doesn't remember her either. She says she'll bring her inside and leaves Addie on the doorstep and never returns. So Addie ends up having to, fend for herself and leaves again. So basically, no one in town remembers her, and she ends up having to leave Milan. So she ends up just walking down the road towards the larger town, or might even be an actual city, I think, where her father used to go to sell this, she heads down the road, just walking that way. It takes her about a full day, I believe, but she makes it there. And in that time, she discovers that she cannot be harmed. She cannot die, really. Any cut, scrape, any kind of wound she receives will be healed almost instantly. And she cannot die of starvation or thirst. She gets extremely thirsty or extremely hungry to the point where she feels like she should be dying. But she won't actually die from it, which sounds kind of horrible. So even though she doesn't necessarily need to eat, she does in order to not feel that way, you know? So we're gonna skip over some time again. And she eventually makes her way to Paris, which is where, she always dreamed of. But at first, it's not exactly the place she imagined. It's quite dirty, really dirty, actually. There's beggars everywhere. Some not really nice people. It's just not the amazing place she thought it would be. And she's having trouble finding places to stay because she also quickly discovers, or maybe not quickly, but a part of, or just kind of how this, she calls it a curse. It's a curse put on her by the devil. This deal she made was not what she intended it to be. It's not the freedom that she wanted. So basically, there's a little string there. So basically, when she meets someone, every encounter she has with a person, it doesn't matter who they are, that encounter will be the first encounter that person remembers. So she remembers anything and everything. Like hundreds of years back, she remembers everything. But if she were to meet you, that would be like the first time meeting her. And then if you are to fall asleep or walk out the door and come back or wake up, then she is like a brand new person to you. You will not remember anything. So many times she, will sleep with a man, meet a man at a bar, go home with him. They've been together this whole time, so you will remember the whole night. They fall asleep in bed together, and either she will have to leave before he wakes up to not, cause any confusion or anything like that, or if she stays and he wakes up and sees her, it's like they never met. He has no recollection of her, which, in those cases, it could be chalked up to, I was really drunk last night. I don't remember who I brought to bed. So that situation is probably the best, because you would be like, oh my god, like, she's been really, really drunk last night. So yeah, but it's an extremely lonely life for her. Yes, she, I suppose, technically has the freedom, you could say, in a horrible, manipulative way. She has freedom where no one can tell her, who to be or what to do, because the second they leave the room or turn around, they don't remember anything. So she becomes very good at manipulating, especially stealing things, because she can go into a store, take something, and even if they see her, as soon as she's out of eye shot, they completely forget. They'd be running after her, and then she turns the corner. They're like, wait, why am I so she can never own a house. She can never build a true relationship with anyone. And that's just the worst possible existence I can imagine. Never knowing where you're going to sleep at night even. So, remember this, she made this deal in 1714. And the book actually jumps back and forth between the year 1714 and the year 2014. So 300 years she's been living life like this. She stays at a lot of people's houses or apartments of people that she has met or slept with, stayed with in the past, and knows are going to be out of town maybe for the night a little while, so she can stay at their house. Obviously, she knows that no one's going to remember she was there. And when she leaves, it's basically like no one was there. Anyways, it almost kind of resets itself in a way. So, let's go to 2014. But this time, she's mostly living in New York. And it does make sense. She explains that New York City there's so much going on, so many people. It's such a large city that you never really run out of things to do. There's always something new to discover, something new to do. So, even though she's been on this earth for 300 years, she still hasn't got bored, at least of that city yet. I'm just gonna take another little sippy. Talking's making my mouth dry. So she's just been kind of, going through the motions in life, and she discovers this little bookshop. She was sure that she had discovered every bookshop in New York City. She's read lots of books. She knows many languages by this point. But there's this tiny little bookshop down like this little alley that she discovers. She goes inside, and it's just stacked full of books. Like, it looks like a hoarder's house, just books absolutely everywhere, but it's also beautiful. Endless amounts of books. So she goes in and finds this. She's very good at stealing, so it's kind of just become a habit at this point. She doesn't even realize which book she's taking, just grabs a book, tucks it under her arm, and leaves. She doesn't have a lot of money either, so that's also why she steals a lot. So she walks out with this book. But before she does that, the boy who works at the library asks her if he can find anything. She says no, I'm fine. And that's really it. So she tries to walk out with this book. She gets around the corner and hears that boy's voice. Hey, you didn't pay for that. And she turns around, but by this time she had left and was already around the corner, so he should have forgotten about her. His memory should have been wiped clean. So she's thinking, okay, I guess he was just super fast and was right behind me and never took his eyes off of me, which is why he's still remembering. And she's like, oh, I'm really sorry, I left my wallet, all this kind of stuff. She makes excuses, and he's like, oh, really? Okay, sure, whatever. He's like, why would you? What was it? Oh, the book was The Odyssey in Latin. And he was like, why of all books would you steal The Odyssey and in Latin? That's such a random book to steal. One that's really not worth anything at all. And I forget what she says to that, but he ends up just letting her keep it. He's like, no, just take it. No one's gonna buy this. Whatever. So she does. And and then I forget how they meet up again. But somehow she says that she needs to make up this dealing to him by buying him a coffee. So they end up going out for coffee, and he actually remembers her. This is a completely different day. For 300 years, no person has ever remembered her face, remembered her name, nothing about her. Oh, and also, part of her curse is that she cannot say her name. She remembers everything about who she is. Her full name is Addie LaRue, but she much prefers Addie. She can't say her own name. Her voice gets stuck after ah. She can't write her own name. Nothing. So no one actually knows who she really is. So she always uses fake names. So yeah, they end up going out for coffee together, and he actually does remember her, and she's just absolutely flabbergasted, doesn't understand, doesn't know what's happening. She's like, is this, a glitch in the Matrix? Is just some fluke or whatever? And he asks, she had said that her name was Eve at first, but then she ends up saying, no, that's not actually my name. My name is actually Addie, and she's able to tell him. She's never been able to say her name out loud before, but now she has, and now he knows her real name. He's like, Addie, that's a beautiful name, whatever. So he says her name to her, and now all she can think about is wow, he said my name, my actual name. That's just everything to her. And they end up going on another date, or an actual date a few days later. And the whole time leading up, she's just so anxious, so nervous that he's not gonna remember her, that it was a fluke, all of this. But she meets him at the bookstore, and he remembers her. So she's just absolutely elated. Cannot believe it. And honestly, the last thing I read was their date, and it ends with they went to the movies. She took him to a movie, an older movie that he hadn't seen, but she had, and he ended up leaving the theater, kind of having a panic attack, and going on this kind of rant about not having enough time, saying do you ever feel like you're running out of time so quickly, and all this, which is very ironic. And she says, I'm gonna take you somewhere else, and they kind of go off. And then there's another kind of side storyline about her and the shadow who comes to visit her once a year, kind of on her curse anniversary. But I won't go into that. You'll have to read the book yourself. So that's kind of where I am now. His name is Henry, by the way. And he kind of seems like he has some sort of curse or something going on with him too, because any person that he meets, they seem to just kind of fall in love with him, but they can't help but give in to him. Everyone thinks he's so attractive and so great. He could say something that, he could say anything super mundane, and they're like, oh my god, that's so sweet, or oh my god, you just have such a way with words. But he's an attractive guy, but he wears very kind of ratty clothes. Everyone's like, wow, you just look so good, you look amazing, and he really doesn't. But Addie doesn't fall for whatever this spell is that's on him. So what draws her to him is this fact, because he once asked her, when you look at me, what do you see? And she said, just the boy with kind eyes, his story is. Maybe he sold his soul to the devil as well for some other reason. Yeah, people just love him, or what, and if Addie will be able to break her curse, and everyone will be able to remember her, or if just the two of them will be able to live, their own kind of private life together. So I've been really, really enjoying it. I hope my synopsis and summary was okay. I tend to go into more detail than I should with things. One, I'm very bad at explaining things. Two, I ramble, so not sure why you guys wanted this type of video back. But here we are. Here we are. I would also, before I go, I want to ask you guys, let me know in the comments. One, if you do enjoy this, and two, I'm thinking of once a month putting out an hour long something, one thing for an hour, 1 hour of mic scratching, 1 hour of teeth tapping or something like that. So let me know what kind of hour long videos you would like to see, because I think those are good for people wanting to sleep. Just to have a constant something for an hour long, I think would be very helpful to some people. So yeah, I've been talking for 45 minutes and my throat's getting a little tired, so I'm going to go maybe keep reading my book. I don't know, but I'm also kind of hungry. So yeah, thank you guys so much. I just want to say too that the love I've got from you guys coming back to this channel has been so nice. This, we're a small community, but it's just really nice. So thank you all